Welcome everybody to Straight Talk Commerce episode number 24. We got the gang back together. Wayne, Ian, how was Atlanta? It was a special TED show or something? What was it?
Yeah, they did the first of its kind called TED Next. And instead of focusing on the latest and greatest in technology and all the other industries, it was focusing on what's next for us as human beings, Homo sapiens. How's all of this technology affecting us? So I just wanted to support the community
Were
and
our robot
yeah.
overlords, were they there? Did they make an
No,
appearance?
no, they weren't screening the content yet. I'm
I
sure
was
that's
going to say, it sounds to me like the robot overlords held that. What's next? What's
exactly.
next is slavery. You're going to be eating people. That's what's next.
Yeah, Elon's robots weren't there yet, but no, it was good. It was good to be reminded of the humanity of folks, the things that we're doing to each other that are kind, and also how Elon's still gonna need us for at least 20 more years or whatever. So we
I'm
still have something to do.
I'm not convinced. Elon Musk made $30 billion 2 days ago in one day. One
It's
day. The earnings for Tesla came out and the stock price went up 22% in one day, netting him a cool $30.333 billion. Guys, what are we doing?
Look, we're on our way there. I mean, Wayne, you've got what number book coming out soon?
Yeah, number 7,
Number
November.
7.
Yeah.
Right? Lucky number 7. That'll come in November.
That's right.
So witty. I just did a post on LinkedIn about the events in this coming up week. We have cybersecurity. I think
Yep.
there's 20 events. So it's amazing the reach that all three of us have,
Yep. Yep.
right?
Yep.
Which now led to we just exceeded 8,000 subscribers, right? But it's look and it's not just about content and putting posts up and giving out valuable information that'll be shared. And it's not about spending tens of thousands of dollars on advertising too, right? I mean, Wayne, would you share a little bit? I know we don't like to talk about too much, but share a
I
little,
love talking about it.
share a little bit how we kind of leverage, because right, 'cause it's not all just ads. It's kind of
Right.
pushing out specific content to lookalike audiences so that we can bless the people that are able to with content they need to grow their businesses, right?
Well, we preach all the time, Dave. If you're not advertising your business, if you're not promoting your business, whether it's social media advertising, whether it's newspaper, whether television ads, okay, if you're not advertising your business, and in this case, we're talking about our podcast. We're worldwide, we're global, we're bigger in Philippines and India and Brazil. United States for us is number 3 on the list, I think, this week, but it's been as low as number 4. I am seeking out people who want the answers to the questions that we're discussing. So you got to find people that want to hear content like yours or buy shoes like the ones you sell. If you sell hiking boots online, okay, it would be really dumb to just advertise to the internet that you have hiking boots. It's very wasteful. But if you can find a way, and there's many ways to do this, but if you can find a way to advertise to hikers who need good, sturdy shoes, you're going to sell a lot of them. If your shoes are good, you're going to sell a whole lot of them. And so with us, with Straight Talk Commerce, we are, look, we ask people to share us, to like us, to subscribe to us. We have plenty of engagement. We would love to have more, don't get me wrong, but we have plenty of engagement, okay? And after every video, this video will suggest to you another video of ours that you can watch. So we spread the news that way as well. Let's not get it twisted.
Totally. And
Now,
these are some of the tactics, right? And I think that we'll be sharing as we'll have our course. I think we're starting a weekly coming up end of November after the summit happens, where people can come in and share what they're working on, right? Because there are just the different niches that you can target and exploit. Some may be huge, some, it's just targeting, right? And I think that brings us to kind of our first topic today, assessing market opportunities and choosing niches, right? I mean, Ian, it's easy to
Absolutely.
go all over the place,
Yep.
right? But you found your
And
niche in healthcare. How's that been going?
yeah, before I jump into that, I want to first acknowledge the fact that it wasn't long time ago when we're coming off of a call and Ken said, "Hey, Ian, why don't you try to find a niche that you can talk to about a subject matter that you like?" And I said, "Well, I can do that, but I also need different voices for it to work." And the first person I called was Wayne. I'm like, Wayne, would you want to do this with me? Because you have skill sets and ability to market that I don't have. And then Wayne said, let's pull in David because he has the built-in community already that might benefit from this. So we started out with 0 views, 0 videos, 0 subscribers, 0 likes, just like you. If you're starting out right now, we were in your exact same shoes just a few months ago. And now we
188
have,
days, 188 days from today when we're
okay.
filming this, 188 days ago.
So 6 months ago, right? We had nothing. We just had an idea. And Wayne even mentioned, guys, we just need to get past, I think was it 7 episodes, Wayne, where you said like people usually drop off 6 or 7
Yep.
episodes? Like we just need to get past that threshold and we have a chance of surviving. We weren't thinking of scaling or going viral, just surviving. Like, how do you not die on the internet? So
Yep.
the goal was just 7 days. And the reason I bring this up now is because, as Wayne mentioned, we're up to 8,000 subscribers, 55,000 views, but that did not start out with everything pre-planned, everything all coordinated. We learned as we went, and we assessed, especially Wayne, the market opportunities, looking at who's watching us, what segment, right? So we started to figure out our niche as we went along, which leads to the first bullet point here, which is the research demand. 2 things that Wayne does prior to this is looking at what are people asking, not just what we want to talk about, but what are people asking. And then we put that list together, and then we try our best to answer those questions. And also we look at our market segmentation. Where are we now, Wayne? I think we're still in the 18 to 34, right? Is our
Actually, that is growing as YouTube's audience, because we're on the
okay,
platform of YouTube.
right.
As that audience ages, it's creeping up for us just like everybody else. YouTube will triple in size by 2027. And
No,
the audience is coming from the older demographics, because there's a
no.
lot of parents out there that watch their kids watch YouTube, but are just discovering it now for themselves. That's where the opportunity is. But you bring up an incredibly good point.
Yeah, and to those of you who are thinking, well, I'll never have, I think we're up to 300 videos now. I'll never have 300 videos. I'll never have 50,000 views. I'll never have, all these thousands of subscribers. Guess what? Everyone starts out at 0. So the key is to get started. And as you get started, take a look at the numbers. What's your favorite line, Wayne? You get what you incentivize. So look at the metrics, right? You can't improve what you don't measure. And then look at who else is doing the work that you want to do. Learn from them, right? Look at their weaknesses and then exploit that. So having an idea as to which market you want to attack is number one, because no one's content applies to everyone. No one, right? You could be talking about the benefits of water and someone's going to slam you.
In today's rapidly evolving healthcare landscape, effective project management is more crucial than ever. Many organizations struggle with achieving their goals due to inefficiencies and lack of direction. Tony Robbins' RPM framework can transform this approach. The RPM framework provides a roadmap for success. You'll soon see how applying these principles can revolutionize healthcare project management and lead to better outcomes for everyone involved. Let's take a deeper dive into applying the RPM framework to healthcare project management. It all begins with defining your outcomes. Think improved patient care, operational efficiency, and data accuracy. These goals set the stage for transformation. Next, understand your why. This is where you align your efforts with greater purposes like patient-centered care, innovation, and sustainability. A clear why gives you direction and purpose. Now, create your roadmap. Engage stakeholders early and often. Conduct readiness assessments to gauge where you are and what you need. Develop comprehensive training programs to bring everyone up to speed. Set concrete milestones and metrics so you can measure progress along the way. And don't forget, communication is key. Regular updates keep everyone aligned and motivated. Lastly, focus on the 20% of actions that will yield 80% of the results. This principle keeps you efficient and effective, concentrating efforts where they matter most. By following these steps, you harness the power of the RPM framework to reimagine project management in healthcare. This approach transforms outcomes and drives innovation in real-world examples. By applying the RPM framework, healthcare organizations can achieve transformative results. Imagine enhanced patient care, streamlined operations, and accurate data management. These are not just possibilities, but tangible outcomes. Real-life examples showcase the remarkable successes already achieved. Increased efficiency in patient care and precise data management demonstrates the framework's profound impact. Now it's your turn to start the transformation. If you seek guidance or assistance, don't hesitate to reach out. Your journey to better healthcare project management begins now. Join Healthcare Project Management Association, or HPMA, today. Your first step in this adventure is contacting Ian Slade at ian@itconsultinggroup.com. He can guide your path from there.
Online. You'll be talking about the benefits of 8 hours of sleep, and someone's going to yell, "You only need 6." So make sure that you know your audience and then look at the data, right? Just be brutally honest with the data and then adjust accordingly. Now, here's something that we're still in the process of working on, and I'd love to get your thoughts, Wayne, David, on this. The second one is defining your business model, right? What type of revenue stream would make sense for us in the future? Now, right now, we're in the process of just giving value to you, right? Providing the value, looking at what community does this resonate with, and figuring out, okay, should we do in-person events? Should we do online events? Should we create a community out of this? Should we do ads and have people be guests on it? So we're still trying to figure this out. And let me just stop right there and get some thoughts you guys might have.
David?
Well, look, I think there's many ways. I think our number one is giving value to the users, right? And making sure that we're monetizing, taking what we share with them, giving them resources. I think this one-way communication is very helpful, right? People can listen to it while they're walking the dog, when they're working at their computer, just for ideas, right? I think now as we come up to 2025, everything's changing with AI. The Google ad stuff's different. We're obviously having some huge success with, again, pushing out to right audiences. People are going to need some hand holding with that. And I think making those spaces available is going to be really great. So I think, I think you'll see community. I think you'll see some just kind of intensive 6 to 8 week courses. What in Wayne's book is coming out about getting to 100,000 Instagram subscribers?
Yep. Subscriptions might be a good idea.
Yeah,
to
and I
have
don't look
more access to us. Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't think it's one thing. right? Everybody
Correct.
learns differently. Everybody's got their
Absolutely.
side hustle or their full-time job.
Well, anybody that's going to let's use drop shipping for an example. Okay. Let's say that you don't want to warehouse a bunch of product and you would like to start drop shipping. It'd be a very good idea to know that 301 was passed and there will be tariffs placed on all of these products coming in from China. And it'll take about 18 months, and people are predicting the death of drop shipping. Now, drop shipping isn't going to die, but if that's your idea, okay, you're going to drop ship t-shirts, you're going to drop ship, these products, you need to know that. And the first thing to do, going back to number one, is while you're assessing your market opportunities, you need to make sure that you know something about the type of business you want to go into, and you're going to wake up every day, throw the covers off, and you're ready to start it because you love it. Okay, this is way too hard to do a business that you really need to love what it is you do. Then define the how. So whether are we drop shipping this? Is it going to be a subscription service with like Melody Clouds? Is this going to be software as a service where people can pay one fee and get the software? How are we going to do it? And then once you've done those two things, you can start to crack into where are my revenue streams coming in. Odyssey, okay? Odyssey has I could probably go into 5 or 6 different revenue streams that Odyssey can tap into. It's where do you put the effort and where prioritizing efforts. T-shirt sales. People like to be identified with a group that they're in. That's one. Subscriptions. We got revenue coming in from subscriptions, right? We started a Odyssey Talk. There's another revenue stream that, while it will take longer to grow, that's where a lot of effort is going into.
Absolutely. And you brought up something really important, Wayne, which is this needs to be something that you really like to do, because all businesses, in my mind, fail not because there isn't a good idea behind it, but because of the lack of follow through, right? You have to do it day in and day out. And what separates a lot of the greats, pivoting to just a sports analogy quickly, versus those who are really talented, is the greats actually every day practice the basics. Like Steph Curry, arguably the best shooter of all time, still practices free throws every day. So that commitment to the basics and eventually to other fancy stuff, you have to do every day. Same thing with business. You have to validate the basics of your business every day. Does the product still make sense? What's the feedback that you're getting? Moving into number 3 here, validating the idea. What are people telling you or not telling you? If you're reaching out to a bunch of people and you're not getting any feedback, well, guess what? That's also feedback that what you're offering is no longer relevant to them. Or you can look at providing a separate market with this type of product, this type of packaging. We do this all the time in healthcare on the marketing side. We send out an ad for, let's say, for example, targeted towards diabetic patients, right? And then we package it a certain way, different colors, different fonts, different times of days, and then to a certain zip code. And then we do the same thing for a different zip code, but we change different things. And after 2 weeks, we look at the data. Which one has more clicks? And then now you use that for the entire county, for example. So you don't want to be married to any one idea, because it's the market that's going to tell you this is what resonates with me, right? That is the goal. Not that it's your baby, it's what resonates with the audience. So that's validating the idea with such objectivity is key. The minute you start trying to fool yourself or making stories, that's when you start seeing businesses fail.
Look, I have a very good friend who owns a coffee shop in the neighborhood that I live in.
Imagine a
You're-
world where your professional growth knows no bounds. Welcome to Witty.com, celebrating 35 years of empowering innovators. Join a community where trust and influence are at the core. Experience exclusive training programs designed to elevate your skills. Our annual summit brings together the brightest minds from multiple industries. As a member, you'll gain access to invaluable resources and support. Network with like-minded professionals who share your passion for innovation. Benefit from mentorship programs that guide you towards success. Celebrate your achievements with a community that recognizes your efforts. Witty.com is more than a membership, it's a journey of growth and success. Join us in celebrating 35 years of innovation and excellence. Take advantage of our special anniversary membership offer today. Unlock your potential with workforce innovation, trust, and influence. Visit Witty.com and become a member
Live in.
today.
Directly across the street from that coffee shop is a Starbucks.
Oh man.
Okay. And you would think, oh man, that was very poor planning. You should never have done that. But guess what? Her coffee shop does banging business. There's no wait. There's tables. People can talk. They can sit in there. And there is a segment of our community, believe it or not, that hates Starbucks.
Hmm.
They would rather drink pond water than drink a Starbucks coffee. And she is capitalized where you would think,
Yeah,
oh, bad
man.
move. Oh, that was so unlucky, Catherine. So unlucky that Starbucks moved in. No. Starbucks draw people over on that. And when they see the line coming out of Starbucks, everybody goes over to her coffee shop and eats a pastry that was made fresh. And they realize, oh, wow, this is so much better an experience than the triple double venti latte that I was about to, get over. And by the way, it was a third of the cost of
Right.
that thing that I was just going to buy. What I'm
Right.
trying to point out is I don't want anyone to get frustrated because you want to make hamburgers and there are hamburger places. Okay.
But you bring out a good point, Wayne. In that scenario, the target market were people who love coffee, right? That's a segmentation, but don't love two things, either one, Starbucks, or two, the wait, right? So if you look at the entire community, people who love coffee, people who don't, all right, you're people who love coffee. Now you look at people who love Starbucks, people who don't. Now you're in the who don't. But there's also a segmentation of people who love Starbucks, but don't love the wrap around the block wait. So now you have two groups that come over to this business. So that type of segmentation, that's what she's catering to. She's not trying to compete with Starbucks. She's not trying to get David or myself, for example, to come on over and drop your pecan hazelnut grande drink. No. Pumpkin, yeah. She's trying to get those with that segmentation.
But
So
hold on a second, even major corporations do this.
yeah,
Find me a Home Depot that does not have a Lowe's within
right
a
next to
one
it.
block
Yep,
area
yep.
of that.
True.
Okay.
True.
It doesn't happen nowhere in the country is there a freestanding Home Depot without a Lowe's right next to it. Okay. So if you have a way of doing it better, or you have a way of even doing it differently that people can resonate with, you've got a very good shot with proper effort. You've got a very good shot at doing very, very good business.
Absolutely. And the fourth one is, this is something that I personally struggle to teach at UCLA, and even for myself, pivoting around a solid business plan. And the reason I say that is there are a lot of people who can sit down and bang away a 12-page business plan on their computer, right? Goals, market strategy, SWOT analysis, financial projections, all that good stuff. What most people forget is that a business plan is not a static document. This is a living, dynamic document. As the market changes, you adjust your plan. As your competitors change, you adjust your projections. As your customers change, you adjust your service offering. And it's so easy to create a plan and just shove it either on your computer under the, under the folder, My Plan to Get Rich, or print it out and just tuck it away somewhere. This needs to be a dynamic plan that you look at regularly. And again, going back to the initial story of our podcast, the reason I wanted Wayne on, because Wayne looks at things way differently than I see things, and so does David. So hopefully our collective view will decrease the blind spots. So same thing with a business plan. You want to have people that look at things differently. Because if you're all looking at the same thing, well, guess what? Just by sheer numbers, you're all going to miss the same thing as well. If you're all looking at one, right?
Ian, the key is, this quote is very, very true. Those who fail to plan, plan to fail.
Plan to
and
fail.
Mike Tyson probably said it best. Everybody's got a plan until they get punched in the face.
Get punched in the face, true.
First time you get punched in the face, your plan goes right out the window, and now you've got to deal with reality. And by the way, there are very good tools, and David could speak to this. There are very good tools. This is one thing that AI does extremely well, is help with those business plans, writing it, at least giving you an example of what a business plan would look like, and you can make adjustments to it afterward. Dave, what would you use AI wise? What would you use to write a business plan?
Well, going through that now, look, I'd use Claude and ChatGPT as just the LLMs to look at things. I'd use something like Terra to look, and my rival, I think, Arrival Flow, to see who in my space, what they're doing. Yeah, and then I'd really just look to set my outcomes over 5 years and then create the plan to get there. And OKRs, we're very into OKRs, which are objectives and key results. It was really the foundation for how companies like Intel.
But my point is, for those people that are unfamiliar with how to write a business plan, asking a ChatGPT to write a business plan for that particular business and suss out a 22-year veteran, write a business plan from the perspective of a 25-year veteran in X. Give me a business plan for the next 5 years, 2-year business plan, and see what that does. And it will give you a very complete business plan that you can then transfer and use it as a skeleton to create your own business plan. I would not advocate anyone using something that came from ChatGPT just on its own. But I would say that it is a very good way of getting a tight example of what a business plan looks like from that individual's perspective, right? A successful 25-year veteran in the industry, what that looks like. So then you can go and use it as a scaffolding for your own business plan.
Totally.
Another thing you can do is from that, make some edits, whatnot, put your own flavor to it, and upload it, and ask either ChatGPT or Perplexity, whichever tool you use, ask it to bring out or list the strengths and weaknesses. And I've used this a lot. What are the strengths and weaknesses of my argument? What are the strengths and weaknesses of this business plan? Even presentations, what are the strengths and weaknesses? And it will tell you, you need to add more here. Even important emails, I would upload it and say, what are the strengths and weaknesses of this email? My bias is very casual. So it always tell me, use these types of words to be more aggressive and less passive. So you can also use it that way for your business plan. Like you can ask it to say, find areas that are either too nebulous or too optimistic, and it'll list it out for you. So to your point, Wayne, use the tools that we have to help refine it. And again, after you've come up with version 2.0, revisit it in a week or two.
That business plan is going to change,
Right.
on a monthly, yearly basis. I mean, your goals, the thing, once you attain certain goals, you're going to need to change it and go to the next goal. Okay. Or you may be presented with opportunities that you didn't even have as part of the plan that you'd like to avail yourself of. You'd like to take advantage of. Okay. Right. No business plan. I think it was FedEx, right? FedEx got an F in an economics class. The person that made FedEx used it as a class project in a college economics class and got an F for it. He subsequently turned right around and created FedEx, dude. FedEx, okay? It's everywhere, and I would say it's an A.
Feeling isolated and disconnected? You're not alone. Many men struggle to find a community that truly understands them. Introducing Odyssey, a place where fellowship and brotherhood thrive. Join us on a journey of personal growth and meaningful connections. At Odyssey, we believe in the power of brotherhood. Our community fosters brotherly connections that last a lifetime. We come together to serve our communities and make a difference. Hear from those who have transformed their lives with Odyssey. Odyssey gave me the brotherhood I was missing. I found other business leaders and entrepreneurs who share my values. Together, we make a real impact in our community. Odyssey is more than a group, it's a brotherhood. Join us and discover the power of true fellowship. Take the first step towards a more connected and fulfilling life. Odyssey, where fellowship, business, and brotherhood unite. For more information, go to yte.com.
Pretty good product, yeah. And part of it is setting up the KPIs. Here's another thing. KPIs for one business might be useless for you, even for your competitors. Let's go back to your story, Wayne, about the town coffee shop and Starbucks. Starbucks KPIs, very different than a mom and pop's coffee shop, right? So make sure that the KPIs make sense for you. Starbucks, for example, I'm sure they're tracking from the warehouse to all of the stores, that the time it takes to get those sandwiches, right? Because they're not made at the stores, they're made somewhere and then they're shipped over. So that affects the freshness of it. I'm sure they measure, tons of the coffee beans that are being shipped and when they get it, all of those things. Where a small mom and pop shop could be, do we have enough flour to make the pastries for today? So your KPIs are going to be for you providing the best services, right, that you need for your customers. So it's okay to peek at what your customers are measuring, but make sure that these KPIs are your tools to ensure that you can provide the best product or services for your customers. And if it's not doing that for you, then you're just either doing busy work or you're not measuring what matters.
Yeah, setting goals is definitely, if you're not setting goals, that's a marker that's your North Star, saying, all right, we want to get to 4,000 subscribers. Okay, we got to 4,000 subscribers. All right, we need to go, we want to have 200 pieces of content. Right now we have 312 pieces of content that's on YouTube for people to enjoy, right? One of those things is, look, I need to have more content. Larger channels have more, content from people to choose from. It draws people in. So whatever it is you're doing, and with her in particular, her coffee shop, one of the things that she's able to do is bring in beans from all over the world. There is a selection of, she can make coffee from individual cups of coffee from things that her menu is constantly in flux. She can have more. If one bean is much more popular, she can bring more in. It takes months for a or maybe even years for a Starbucks to go through all of the committees that it needs to in order to change the flavor of one bean. So
Absolutely.
she enjoys that. If she wants to add something to her menu, she can add it to her menu the next day. Crumble cookie is a very good example of that. Their cookies are based on the region that their store is in. The flavors of the people that surround them. In California, there's a lot of strawberry flavors and stuff. We grow a lot of strawberries here. So it's very cheap to get, right? So you go into a crumble and you see a lot of things that revolve around certain flavors that are in that area. In Florida, it may be lemons, a lot of key lime or lemons. That's the flavor of that area.
And seasonality, I would guess, like what's in season.
Well, Starbucks with pumpkin this and pumpkin that. I mean, every year I dread this time of year because my house smells like, a roasted apple and pumpkin for months, dude. Months it smells like that.
It's a good smell. Well, pivoting to, okay, so now that you know the market that you're targeting, now that you know what you want to deliver to the market, now you've created your plan, right? So now you need to stand out, right? And to do that, you need to have your own brand identity. Now, Witty is one of the best examples of that. David, I'd love for you to talk a little bit about the evolution of Witty from when it started back in the 90s and how it's evolved today in terms of brand identity, but at the same time, keeping the values from when it started.
Well, there were a few things, right? First, it had been focused on women, always including everybody. But our first name was the International Network of Women in Technology. That's not necessarily a word you could say. So we picked around some of the letters. And then it became Witty. WITI, right? Now, this is before there were URLs you'd buy, right? So this was 89. So that really wasn't a consideration. Today, we may throw that in. As it built up, getting the messaging out kind of pre-internet. We started Witty right when email was starting to start. But it was really just the core values and the code of ethics that you can see on our website that hasn't changed since day one. And as we progressed, and as I took the company I had been running for many years, Criterion Research, and merged the two companies together, there was just so much brand identity out there for WITI and our logo. So we said, okay, let's change the words again now that we're really expanding what we do with companies. And it was after we finished our latest research that we did with our partner Intel, and we changed it to WITI, which is now Workforce Innovation, Trust, and Influence. And man, growing faster than ever. I looked this morning, we had like over 400 members join last week and execute membership. Our sales team's been selling them in the hundreds. We have people joining, getting on board. We're having people all around the world in our different sessions. So it's it's great. I'm excited to get the e-commerce community up on there and get that going with the two of you, because look, everybody needs to understand e-commerce. That could be to support a big company that you're doing. That could be to have your side hustle. That could have to be your 100% hustle, right? Just learning AI, learning these things is so critical.
Thanks for coming to today's Zoom meeting. Let's break the ice by starting with a bad joke. A minister, a priest, and a rabbit walk into a bar. The bartender says to the rabbit, "What can I get you?" "I don't know, I'm just here because of autocorrect."
That is unacceptable, horrible.
You upset the baby.
That was as boring as your Zoom background.
People will think that I'm smart if I have books on a shelf behind me.
But I think one title is Green Eggs and Ham. Another one is Winnie the Pooh.
They were real nail biters.
If you subscribe to the Adobe Creative Suite, use Photoshop and Midjourney, you have all the tools to create great backgrounds. Like this one. I created the background in Midjourney, drew the birds in Illustrator, made them fly in Adobe Animate, and saved it as an MP4.
Companies can create a library of backgrounds for all their official Zoom interactions.
Does anyone want to hear another joke?
It is getting late.
You can buy great backgrounds now or join Zoomback Pro and create your own. Go to zoomback.pro for more info.
Absolutely. And what's amazing is so I just finished management course at UCLA. And so I went there in person to say, thank you and all of that. And one of my students, lo and behold, her side gig is she is a catering chef. She has her own catering business. And then towards the end, she said, "Hey, Ian, thanks for everything that you shared with us." And she said, "Although your focus is on healthcare, I actually took what you said and used it for my catering business, and it's been blowing up." And I think that what we're talking about here, whether you have a vulcanizing store or you have a dog daycare center or you have a coffee shop, you take these principles and use it in all these areas and execute it well, I think it will help your business. I'm really excited, David, that we can share this with the Witty community and also just help more people, right? And I wanted to underline the fact that even though the name of Witty was changing, throughout all that, at least for me, someone outside looking in, there's a through line, which is inclusion, right? Before, the focus was on women. Now the focus is on just people who aren't as AI savvy. How do we bring them in to the conversation and keep them relevant in the workforce? So in so many ways, we're still doing the mission of Witty, from 1989. So that's what I mean by in your brand identity, beyond the logo, the colors, the fonts, what is it that you stand for, right? Because that hopefully doesn't need to change if it's rooted on solid values. The same thing for you, Wayne, with Melody Clouds. It was truly democratizing all these really expensive options out there. Like you have Calm, you have Headspace, and they're all like, anywhere close to $20. And yours was like $3 or something. So for folks who $20 a month is doesn't come easily, you have other options. There's the democratization of this technology. And hopefully with our podcast, you could be anywhere in the world, can be in the rural areas of the Philippines or India. As long as you have Wi-Fi, you can get to this, and you're hearing the same things that we're sharing with folks here in the US, UCLA, Stanford, and you're getting it for free. So this is moving on to the part that most entrepreneurs don't like. And this is establishing legal and administrative foundations. So there are different types of businesses. You can register your business as an LLC, S Corp, C Corp, and we can probably do an entire segment on this, what makes sense for you. But one of the things that most people, because this isn't the part of the business that they're enthusiastic about, that they love, to use your words, Wayne, they either just go to illegalzoom.com or just try to do this themselves. They don't ask for expert advice. Now, I highly, highly recommend, if this is an area that you're not familiar with, come up with the money to spend 30 minutes with your lawyer, with your accountant, so that you can set things up correctly, especially when you get to a point where you have your first customer. Make sure that you have someone read your MSA or Master Service Agreement. Make sure you have someone read your SOW or Statement of Work. Make sure that you have your bank account set up in such a way that you can receive payments online. Make sure that you know what tax bracket you're in so you can prepare for that. And make sure that you have auto deduction so you're not hit with a 50,000, a tax payment at the end of the fiscal year. All these things are crucial to your business, because if you don't have this all set up, you might find yourself either in a lawsuit, not getting paid, or the IRS coming after you. So these are, again, going back to the basics, some of the basic things that you need to understand. And you don't need to be an expert at this, but do find experts to help you in this process. And it doesn't cost an arm and a leg. 30 minutes with a good lawyer, 30 minutes with a good accountant can truly save you thousands of hours and thousands of dollars in terms of setting this up. So let me stop right here. See you smiling, David. I know you've had some, and Wayne, actually, some stories about setting up new businesses and dealing with customers on the legal front.
Yeah, look, I hear what you're saying. Look, there's two ways of going about this. Some people, look, you want to make sure that your business is going to be well funded, certainly.
Right.
The application of those funds are going to be a concern until it's returning money. And my best advice to people would be make sure that business is returning money, right? It's revenue generating before all of those things are. Let the business pay for itself. Let me give you an example, okay? Because a lot of people have side hustles. They do these side hustles. They spend a whole lot of money. They spend $4,000, $5,000 getting their business all set up before the first dollar comes in the door. And I don't agree with that at all. It's a very good way of tearing up your savings and leaving yourself with empty hands. Better idea is, look, as far as in the United States, we are talking to a multicultural, country audience here. Everyone has a government where they are, and that government is going to require certain things from you in order to operate a business. So what you should do is find out what those requirements are and satisfy those requirements. That's a better way of saying this. I am talking to the people in India, into Philippines, into Brazil. It's all different from the United States. Now, in the U.S., we have the U.S. Charges us taxes, the country as a whole. Each state has state taxes that they charge us. And then your municipality, your town, wherever you are, also, in order to run a business there, they require taxes and you to be set up from there. Okay? So it's a lot of taxes to be paying here. You need to know those things, and you need to satisfy those requirements. How you do that, if you want to hire an attorney, as Ian says, and have them walk you through those steps, probably a good investment if you have the money to do that. If you do not, if you're operating this business and you want it to start generating money first, then the better thing for you to do than spend that money would be know what the requirements are, and you take a trip down to the courthouse and file your LLC. You go to this, file through the state. If you're in the U.S., file through the state, and you handle those things on the federal level as well. Okay, they're all free if you do it yourself, but you need to have some professional help. I'm not arguing. I'm saying it's a very good idea if it's available to you, and it is available to you. You can go online and get that help for little or no money. As far as payment systems and whatnot, if you're operating through Shopify, BigCommerce, anything online, those things are going to be handled by that platform. If you're going off on your own, you're going to still need a way of accepting payment. And so discuss with that system, the representative from that system, how those things are handled. It's you know, and look, we're going to have in the future, there's 2 courses that were 2, you know, podcasts we're going to do that address this specifically. So let's not get caught in the weeds, but we are going to specifically hand carry, walk somebody through what all of these requirements are. I've been to the bank many, many times and set up separate accounts for businesses. And it is not nearly, it doesn't have to be nearly as intimidating as people listening to this may think it is. It's really, once you know what you're doing, it's very simple.
Very true. And
Well,
so
and I
okay.
think pointy, and sorry, what I was gonna say
No, please.
is we have a community. Learn from our pain, learn from the
Right.
pain
Right.
of entrepreneurs.
Absolutely.
You don't have to create everything, even if it's a competitor. If you ask them, 9 times out of 10, they're gonna support you. Because a lot of us that have been in entrepreneurial for a long time have learned many lessons.
And
Paid a
still
lot
learning
down
lessons.
exactly, and
Well,
nobody has
also, very few people go off, they have a job and they go off and do something, their own business, that is not very closely related to what they were doing professionally. In other words, most of the time, people go off on their own and do the same things they were being employed to do weeks before. So they're going to know these type of things or have access to A, customers, and B, those, you know, those resources right away. And that's good.
Very true. And so now that we talked about, okay, so now you have your own company, and as Wayne said, before you start building a company, see if anyone wants the cookies that you're selling first. Right? Go to your friends, go to your neighbors, make sure that someone actually thinks that these are delicious cookies or whatever it is, a great t-shirt or candles, whatever it is that you're trying to do as a side hustle. Do your proof of concept first, because it doesn't matter that you have your LLC or S Corp. If what you're selling, well, no one wants, then that S Corp is not going to make you money. So you have that, and now you want to figure out, okay, how do I source my products or create inventory, right? Again, you've done your proof of concept first. You know that folks like this. So now how can you create the inventory that you need to meet the demand that's coming up? So Wayne, I'll pull you into this one because this is your area of specialty in terms of having drop shipping, right?
Yeah, especially with drop shipping. Now you can
Yeah.
go with someone like Inventory Source, which I use, Inventory Source, and it brings together thousands of suppliers. And then you go through, pick and choose, sign up with those suppliers. Maybe there's a fee, maybe there's not, but you get registered with those suppliers and there's some paperwork there to fill out. Once you've completed all of that, then in the drop shipping model, when an order comes through your store, it goes to you and then directly through you directly to the supplier. And that supplier then fills the order, ships the order, all with your logo, with your customer never knows that you went through a third party to supply that item. Okay. Amazon also. Amazon is actually 100,000s of other smaller suppliers. So if you have an Amazon store, that's your platform. Your products may or may not come from your warehouse. It may come from a warehouse in Shanghai or in Denver, Colorado, or in India somewhere. Okay, in the drop shipping model. So yeah, establishing those suppliers is, especially during COVID, we had a massive, you know, during the virus, all shipping stopped. nothing was coming, okay, from outside of the country. You couldn't get any kind of product. So very quickly we had to pivot with our survival store. Very quickly we had to pivot to suppliers that were within the continental United States to supply product to our customers. And we did that, and we survived just fine.
Building on that, so now you have your inventory, now you have your source. Now you want to build your own e-commerce website where people can find your brand, find your products. And what advice would you give, Wayne, in terms of folks who are starting out fresh, like they don't have any idea what to do? What would be your advice?
So if the person that was in front of me has built websites before and they were an expert at building e-commerce websites, then I would tell them still, there are sites like Flippa. You can go to Fiverr. You can go to there's a lot of different places you can go and buy pre-made sites and adjust those sites to what it is you want to do. And the reason I say that is because building an e-commerce website now these days is a lot of time. You can do two things simultaneously. In other words, you can be up and running with our adult site. We were up and running within a few hours, and doing business and making money within a few hours of purchasing that site. You can go to a website like Flippa, FLIPPA.com, and buy a website that's already has the products, everything loaded on there. That's one way of doing this. It's very legitimate, and it will save you a lot of time and a lot of headaches. If you choose to create the website on your own, you are now talking about weeks or months of preparing that site. And if you're very well funded, that may be the direction that you want to go. I'm talking up to right now people that may or may not want to spend that kind of money up front before they've made a dime or seen a dime, come in the door.
Absolutely. And
making your own, one more thing, making your own website, building your own website from that is something that I would advise people to do once you've earned the money to do that. Once you've got proof of concept, and now you can have your own custom storefront and your own custom thing, right? Let's first get product out the door. Let's first prove that we actually have a viable business and we know these other things. Let's do that first.
True. You want to be able to really use your revenue, not revenue, but your funds for value added things. And when I say value add, these are things that affect the product. So if you have a bakery, that would be buying flour, buying sugar, or not the ads outside, right? Now,
especially if people are not walking around your neighborhood already eating your cupcakes.
That's right.
you really want to keep it as basic as you possibly can until people are wearing your shoes, or you've got a town full of people wearing your shirts, clothing. Okay.
So you have your website, that's up and running. Now let's talk about how to implement marketing strategies. So in terms of search engine optimization, social media strategy, email marketing. So Wayne, okay, so you have your great idea. Folks have tried the cupcakes, pastries, coffee, and they say, yep, this is a good idea. You now have, Wayne's Coffee around the corner shop. What do you do now?
So you notice, everyone that's listening to this should notice that we are following a step by step, right? First, we came up with the idea. We started seeing if it was a viable business. We've talked to our tax preparer. We've sourced our product, right? we've sourced our product, we've built our e-commerce website. Now we're ready to sell. And once we sell, we're going to need to keep track and use our analytics to find out where our customers are coming from, right? We're going to do our SEO so people can find us. We're going to do our social media. We're going to start blasting out ourselves on social media, but we're going to measure all of those things to see how successful we are. We're not going to make a move until we've measured it and we have information coming back to us, because now we have money coming in and we'd like to know where to source more of that money.
If your business operations feel like a grind, you're missing out on the magic of artificial intelligence. Whether you're in retail, manufacturing, finance, or any other industry, AI is a game changer. From automating mundane tasks to optimizing your supply chain, AI can transform how you operate. We specialize in creating tailored AI solutions that meet your unique challenges and goals. With our expertise, you can improve efficiency, reduce errors, and make better decisions. Discover how AI can revolutionize your business. Contact us today at www.toolessentials.ai/consultation.
So that's what we're doing. That's what we're talking about in part 10. You know, you plan and you implement your marketing strategy. The first thing that you want to do before you do that, though, is set up the way you're going to measure it. You get Google Analytics, you get whatever HubSpot, whatever analytical tool you want to use, but you're going to have one, because there's nothing worse than finding $10 in your wallet and not knowing where it came from. Trust me. And imagine that times 1 million. Let's say that you woke up the next day and you found out that your book overnight sold $30,000 worth of copies of that book, and you have absolutely no idea where all of that money came from. Where did those people come from? Because if you know where they came from, you know right where to go to get more.
Absolutely. It's easier to have a repeat customer than getting a net new customer. It's easier
Can you
to
imagine
fulfill.
how horrific it would be to sell $100,000 worth of shirts and have absolutely no idea anything about where that came from? And you got to go through all of these processes again just to find out who your customer was. I can't think of anything more horrific than that.
True. And also, to your point, Wayne, again, being able to connect to your customers, right? In this case, through social media, email marketing. And the goal isn't to be available everywhere to everyone all the time. The goal is to be available to your customers, to your niche, to your audience when they need you. All right. Well, this one is connected to, the next one is connected to what we were talking about earlier, which is setting up fulfillment and shipping. So, okay. So now you have your loyal customers. Now they want to reorder. Now they're telling their friends, and they also want to order from you. And now you're setting up, okay, how do I get my product to my customers? So, Wayne, this is all in your wheelhouse. I'll let you go through this.
So you've got a store and you have Shine or Temu or Alibaba or whatever, all right? And you found this great product and it's selling like hotcakes. That's when you're going to really need to prepare, or you're going to need to have a way of paying attention to what your shipping rates are, because those rates are going to go up. If you're making money, those shippers are going to want more money from you.
Right.
If you're selling a heck of a lot of product on Amazon, watch what Amazon does to you. They start wanting more of a taste of what it is you're doing. It doesn't go down, it goes actually up, which is mind-blowing. And not just Amazon. I'm not picking on Amazon. That's a great business model, by the way. You get in with Amazon, it's fantastic. But let's say that you sold 100 sleeping bags, okay, from a certain supplier, and they took notice. And it used to be that they would go, hey, Wayne, guess what? Instead of charging you $10 per sleeping bag, we're now going to charge you $8.75. You're going to make actually more. We'd like for you to, and that's not the way it works anymore. In a lot of cases, it doesn't work that way. Or you need to make sure that it works that way. Your supplier may say, well, we're going to discontinue this sleeping bag. We're going to need to charge you $15 for these sleeping bags now. And now your costs have gone up, and now you've got to pass that cost on to your customer or eat it, one of the two. So this is a very, very important thing, especially if you're in a manufacturing or you're selling retail, things retail. This is something you got to really be set up for and pay very close attention to, because it is a real thing. Packaging. Your packager decides that they're going to go belly up. They made a mistake, and they can no longer recreate your packaging. Now your packaging has to change. Let's say that your shipper, you've got a global pandemic, and your shipper is stuck in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, and your customers aren't going to receive your product now. They were supposed to receive it 4 days ago. They're not going to get it for another 3 weeks. That affects you because you're the one that sold that to them. So a plan needs to be in place of what we're going to do. Listen, I learned this the very hardest way. Very hardest way. It cost me a great deal of money because of that particular situation. Hundreds of thousands of businesses around the world found themselves in that situation. It's a very real, a horrible position to be in.
Especially if you offer free shipping and then your supply chain has an issue. Now you eat that cost. You
Free
can't turn
shipping
around
means
and say,
nothing if it doesn't get to them.
right.
Of course, it's
Exactly.
going to be free. Now you're talking about refunding people's money because they didn't
Yep.
get the product when they could use it.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And by the way, this is to excite people, okay? I want everyone that's listening to this to get excited at the puzzle, not deathly afraid of what could happen. No. There are ways of solving these riddles. There are ways of solving these problems. And I'm getting excited just thinking about that opportunity, because there are ways your business will take shapes that you never imagined before that. And it's awesome. It's very cool.
100%. And now that your business is shaping up, we talked about this, start small, right? So now you do a small launch, for example, right? A small, or what people call soft opening, right? We do a soft opening with our, let's stick with the coffee shop analogy. You just invite family and friends, just make sure that the machines work, that the formulations work, and then they'll give you honest feedback. And once you have all the kinks figured out, then you do an official launch.
Let me tell
Even
you real quick. I'm sorry, Ian.
Yeah.
Hold on. I got to tell you,
Yeah, go for
I'm
it.
dying to tell you this story. Dave, you
Please.
will appreciate this. Okay, so I started the survival store, and I didn't know if all the pieces were in place and working, right? I didn't have the first customer come in with a credit card and actually buy a product and see if it shipped to them. So I got a very good friend of mine, shout out to Beverly Reinholtz, love you, you are the best friend ever. And so I asked Beverly, hey, Bev, do me a favor. I was on the phone with her, and I said, hey, listen, do me a favor, go into Black Hawk Survival, she wanted some survival stuff. I said, if you'll buy something from me and I'll give it to you for free, I'll refund you your card. I'll refund the money back. I just want to see if this will actually work the way that I've set it up. She did.
Right.
And she ended up buying like $1,500 worth of survival products. Okay.
Oh, wow.
Oh, wow is right, because I went downstairs and my wife is beating me over the head with a frying pan. I have now got to return back $1,500 to this woman who just misunderstood. She went a little shopping crazy. Okay. Well, I called her and said, hey, Bev, I'm going to return the money. She's like, no, Wayne. Very sweet Arkansas accent. No, Wayne, I'm trying to support. She ended up buying, first sale was $1,500 worth of water purification.
Wow.
And supplies, just because I reached out to her and asked her to do it. She still has the food that she purchased, still has all the survival products in her home. Now, Her husband, Rick Reinholtz, is not speaking to me anymore. It's been 10 years. He is not speaking to me anymore because she bought all that stuff. But it was a way, you want to have someone that is going to test the water. Dave, you do the same thing when you have something on Witty. You have a class that you charge for, right? You blast that out to people and you've got to test that, correct?
Yeah, and I give it to 5 of our members to take for free, give us feedback, support them, right? I mean, just think about it. You have this whole community, right? Because back with all of our early businesses, we didn't have access like this.
Yeah.
No matter what you were doing, right? Or pre-internet, early internet,
Right.
you know, and now with COVID, it's like, oh man, I can if I didn't have to all the mistakes I made, you know, that I could have said, you know, I could have a trusted source that says, wait a minute, you might want to consider this, you know?
In today's rapidly evolving healthcare landscape, effective project management is more crucial than ever. Many organizations struggle with achieving their goals due to inefficiencies and lack of direction. Tony Robbins' RPM framework can transform this approach. The RPM framework provides a roadmap for success. You'll soon see how applying these principles can revolutionize healthcare project management and lead to better outcomes for everyone involved. Let's take a deeper dive into applying the RPM framework to healthcare project management. It all begins with defining your outcomes. Think improved patient care, operational efficiency, and data accuracy. These goals set the stage for transformation. Next, understand your why. This is where you align your efforts with greater purposes like patient-centered care, innovation, and sustainability. A clear why gives you direction and purpose. Now, create your roadmap. Engage stakeholders early and often. Conduct readiness assessments to gauge where you are and what you need. Develop comprehensive training programs to bring everyone up to speed. Set concrete milestones and metrics so you can measure progress along the way. And don't forget, communication is key. Regular updates keep everyone aligned and motivated. Lastly, focus on the 20% of actions that will yield 80% of the results. This principle keeps you efficient and effective, concentrating efforts where they matter most. By following these steps, you harness the power of the RPM framework to reimagine project management in healthcare. This approach transforms outcomes and drives innovation in real-world examples. By applying the RPM framework, healthcare organizations can achieve transformative results. Imagine enhanced patient care, streamlined operations, and accurate data management. These are not just possibilities, but tangible outcomes. Real-life examples showcase the remarkable successes already achieved. Increased efficiency in patient care and precise data management demonstrates the framework's profound impact. Now it's your turn to start the transformation. If you seek guidance or assistance, don't hesitate to reach out. Your journey to better healthcare project management begins now. Join Healthcare Project Management Association, or HPMA, today. Your first step in this adventure is contacting Ian Slade at ian@itconsultinggroup.com. He can guide your path from there.
Well, my father-in-law makes cigar box guitars. You guys, almost every episode, I bring Rich into this conversation. He goes to flea markets and he sells these cigar box guitars. And when he first started doing it, people needed to have cash in their pocket or they needed to have a checkbook handy. Okay, he would take a check then. As he started selling these and was selling multiple, and as he ran into customers that said, hey, look, man, I don't, why don't you have a point of sale, a POS system here, allow me to use, well, he got a small Apple one that fit on his phone. And now he's got a whole setup, cash register, a whole 9 yards set up there because, and by the way, he'll take chickens or eggs or however you want to pay him because he's got a son-in-law that's like, hey, look, man, if someone offers you Spanish doubloons, you take it and then do the transfer. You take payment in as many ways as you possibly can. You want to take payment for those things. Now, what you want to watch for though are those fees. If a payment method is starting to cost you more than it's worth to you, then you need to X. But that's part of KPIs. That's part of measuring what's going on. But across the board, whether you're a doctor in rural Iowa that's accepting eggs and milk for, you know, the exchange for looking you over, or whether you're in New York City and you take bearer bonds for the, you know, the car that you just sold them. We're a capitalist society here, man. We want to be able to A, track the payment, and B,
Right.
accept the payment to begin with.
Or Bitcoin if you're in Silicon Valley.
Right. A very good example of that.
Yep. And so, all right. So we started out this episode, you're contemplating, you're bored at work, you're sitting at your cubicle, trying to figure out what should I do as a side hustle. We went through that idea. We went through figuring out your product, your passion. We figured out the niche market that you wanted to reach out to. Then we went through setting up your own legal entity. Then we had your website put together. Then we had a way to ship things to your customers. And now you're up and running. So the question is, how do you continue to optimize, to scale, and continuously innovate? And this is a great way to end this episode. So you're up and running now. So like Witty, 1989, David, what are the things you do to stay relevant and meet the needs of your customers?
Look, we're always innovating, and most recently AI, right? So within the last
Right.
couple of years now, it's been how do we empower all of our people through using AI, well-being and understanding.
Right.
You have to,
Yep.
we're in a crazy world now, and staying current and building the relationships and just having the platform to connect everybody so that they can move up and get what they want and have all the information and at their fingertips. So that's most recently, right? But I think and that came from us asking our members, what do you want? What challenges are you having?
Right.
What are your goals? Are you clear what your goals are? How do you get to that space so you can really look from this whole new reality we have?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And from my side, another course that UCLA asked me to teach was the Physician Informatics Fellowship, which is when you're done with your rotation, we take a handful of students and we do a deep dive into, if your specialty is dermatology, what is the latest and greatest technology coming out that will affect dermatology? If your specialty is population health, what's out there, infectious disease. So each class that I teach is really tailored towards who's showing up. And because of this, I have these ongoing relationships with these physicians long after they're done with the UCLA medicine program. So that was in response to, well, AI and technology, right? Because it's not enough for you to be an amazing physician in your field. Now you need to be an amazing physician in your field using the latest technology, right? So those are some of the things that we had to do. But yeah, what worked today doesn't necessarily mean it'll work tomorrow. So having the metrics, and this ties all the way back to our first conversation about measuring what matters, about keeping
I was just
track
going
of
to
the
say,
KPIs.
you are going to kill your business if
Right.
you continuously innovate and continuously improve in you're not measuring and
Right.
you're not innovating the right things and improving the right things. You understand? That is the quickest way of choking the crap out of your business and going out of business very, very quickly if you are swinging wildly and guessing at what looks good to you. This is about the customer. This is, you changed the font on the website, made it more difficult for people to read. Congratulations, knucklehead. You changed the color into a color that people don't respond to. Good job, Goofy. You know, you're killing your business if you're not measuring, hey, let's pay attention to the things that actually we need to pay attention to. Okay. Let's pay attention to that. To give you an example, right? Once you have an audience, Okay. And let's use our podcast as an example. 8,000 subscribers, people that are 55,000 views. Now I can see, okay, what is our average view length? How long are people going into these? Oh, 23 minutes. Wow, that's fantastic.
Imagine a
That's
world where your professional growth knows no bounds. Welcome to Witty.com, celebrating 35 years of empowering innovators. Join a community where trust and influence are at the core. Experience exclusive training programs designed to elevate your skills. Our annual summit brings together the brightest minds from multiple industries. As a member, you'll gain access to invaluable resources and support. Network with like-minded professionals who share your passion for innovation. Benefit from mentorship programs that guide you towards success. Celebrate your achievements with a community that recognizes your efforts. Witty.com is more than a membership. It's a journey of growth and success. Join us in celebrating 35 years of innovation and excellence. Take advantage of our special anniversary membership offer today. Unlock your potential with workforce innovation, trust, and influence. Visit Witty.com and become a member
fantastic.
today.
That's well above average, but let's see what we can do to make that better. Let's see what we can do. Are we picking the right topics? Well, you're going to see that in how many people are actually clicking on the topic we've selected. Could we name it something else? Let's name this same video something different and see if we get more people. We tried an experiment last week about our thumbnail. People may go back and look, and we changed the thumbnail from the three of us to a thumbnail that you would see Mr. Beast make, or somebody else make, right? That actually performed worse than the normal Straight Talk Commerce thumbnail that people are used to seeing. So does that mean I give up on that and don't create any thumbnails? No, but it does mean that I'm going to continue to test that and to find out, hey, look, maybe it's good for us if people know what they're in for when they click the button and start watching. They're going to hear three people passionately talk about business instead of God knows what, maybe some AI voice on the other end of last week. So measuring is your most important function. That is going to be, measuring, and that'll allow you to expand your product line. Oh, hey, we went from a shoe store to carrying an entire line of survival products. We went from, it just makes it so much easier if you know where it is you're going. And then I would not be able to do what I do without automating. Every one of my stores are automated, and they require very little input from me. 5 days out of every month, I dedicate to making the changes that I need to those stores. And then I leave it alone. Leave it alone and let it tell me what it needs next. Did I solve my problem? Oh, nope, I didn't. It's worse. Let's go back to what we did. And over time, I usually leave it about 90 days between times I mess with it. So 5 days out of the month, I'm paying very close attention. I do whatever it is I need to do, and then I let it sit. It's got to tell me if that fixed the issue, Ian.
Absolutely. Yeah. Tinkering too much is just as bad as not tinkering at all, because you need to see if it works. It's the same thing as pulling out the plant to check if the roots are growing. You need to leave it in the ground for it to be able to do what it needs to do. So,
yep.
Before we go, I'd like to underscore what Wayne said. We're not bringing up all of these issues, things to be concerned about, to scare you. No. What we're trying to do is make sure that as you go about chasing your dream of being an entrepreneur, that you have the survivor guide. The tool,
Eyes wide open, totally
Eyes wide
excited
open.
and very clear on what it is you're about to do. And we are very excited for you.
right. And please, as you encounter issues, which you will, don't hesitate to drop us a comment, right? Let us know, and we might even have you on the show and talk to you live about your business. So
We'd
with
love to
that,
do that.
thank you everyone for tuning in. And again, we can't do this without your support. Thank you.
Wait.